Hi, this is my presentation on moral courage. Courage, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is the mental or moral strength of venture, preserve, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. This idea of courage is usually visualized in the stereotypical fashion of a superhero saving a person from a falling building, a firefighter leading a person away from a fire, or someone fighting off a bully, and sometimes even just visiting your in-laws' family for an annual holiday dinner. In one way or another, these thoughts, perceptions, all display some aspect of courage. However, there is one subcategory of courage that still remains a murky subject, as no clear answers seem to define it. Moral courage, according to the Wikipedia, is the courage to take action for moral reasons, despite the risk of adverse consequences. However, that makes something more, especially in today's world where so many individuals, societies, families, and cultures have different meanings and interpretations of morality. In today's world, do people know the true definition of moral courage? How do you define it, or at least identify it? Do individuals just do acts of courage because it is beneficial towards them? If so, can we all call that moral courage because of selfishness was the primary motivator? Or do they do it to truly help someone or something, even if it means it will negatively affect an individual? Moral courage is a topic that has many different interpretations, components, and meanings in different cultures, areas, and societies, which is the reason it is still discussed to this day. Despite the confusion of it is necessary in societies because it allows us to live better, more fulfilling lives while simultaneously allowing us to decide on do the things that are right through proper thinking and evaluation. My interpretation of moral courage is the ability to combat fears through actions and values. It is being able to step up despite fears, insecurities, and complete whatever you are determined to accomplish with the bounds of morality, such as protecting someone, going against masses, achieving happiness and fulfilling life, and taking risks. Additionally, this is where morality of the action is determined by the environment it resides within. In the last assigned assignment, we read and watched a video about different groups of people which are a part of the Aboriginal culture. Moral courage can be shown through different cultures because of how different they live from others, even though they are looked down upon and still continue their old practices. The same goes with indigenous culture, even though they have very different lifestyles and practices, they still are proud of it and don't hide it, but show others their lifestyle. Moral courage can allow people to be happy because they stand up for what they believe in, and this could be their culture like Aboriginal and indigenous groups. They are unrestrained by the fact that other people have different values or interpretations of morality, and have the unwavering courage to continue to conduct their ways of life. That is why they are still relevant to this day and have not disappeared because of others trying to get rid of or looking down upon them. With moral courage, they can still practice what they believe in and live their happy and peaceful lives that Sharia Carey described in the TED Talk video. On a less serious note, as well as an example of within my own life of a situation where I had different hobbies, interests than my family, pretty much I was a huge nerd. I was terrified of being made fun of by my family and would often hide my activities from them if they were present. However, one day I mustered up the courage just to play my favorite game, even with the risk of being made fun of, ridiculed, or laughed at. Surprisingly, the most unlikely thing happened. Nothing. I had spent years of my life scared at the thought of my family thinking I was a nerd when in reality nothing bad happened. My family still treated me the same and didn't think less of me. Fear had made me waste so much effort and energy through anxiety and stress of hiding my activities, and it all disappeared as soon as I had the courage to ignore the fear and the consequences. Moreover, as mentioned before, moral courage can be seen as many different things and actions. A prime example is that Richard Dawkins' video on altruism, where he explains that altruism is what animals and humans can display, which is giving something to another at the cost of themselves. In the most basic sense, it is a selfless act that costs an individual something. Moral courage can be seen and have characteristics of altruism because of the effects it can have on you. It's a selfless action that altruism displays as you are sacrificing something for the betterment of another individual or organism. You are willing to face the consequences and actions benefiting another and ultimately thought through it and measured with the benefits towards another individual. Both moral courage and altruism are the practice or the action that is selfless that can be helping others in return for nothing, which can result in negatively affecting you because you did by either standing up for something or someone that the majority doesn't agree with. What makes this even more impactful is that Richard Dawkins mentioned that these behaviors are something even genetic, giving another viewpoint of moral courage altogether, which further proves that moral courage is a complex, diverse topic. Remember also that moral courage involves taking risks, seeking betterment despite risk, especially when regarding failure, as well as having confidence to support our own beliefs, actions conducted, and the search for new subjects revelations. In one section module given to us where we research the Socratic method of Socrates' idea on confidence towards courage, we were then required to watch a philosophy, a guide to happiness, Socratic on self-confidence. This video documentary discussed Socrates' idea on confidence and courage, where he mentioned that one gains confidence in one's own beliefs and not through what others think. We want to stay away from the sheep-like thoughts, follow the group, which is one of the best ways to avoid conformity, and have the courage to hold our values. We shouldn't be swayed by others' thoughts and ultimately betray our own ideals. This halt progression of an individual, which also never allows an individual to have confidence to carry ideals, values, and actions, which is primary motivator in catalyzing all of these actions. Altogether, this goes against the idea of moral confidence, which advocates ignoring fears and consequences to conduct moral actions. Society creates mandatory conformity of individuals who think that the same things as well as harbor the same beliefs without any variation. Most of the time, people are comfortable with this type of mindset as people don't have the moral courage to face something new or change. This was expressed in one of our teachings regarding Plato's work called The Allegory of the Cave. This is a short story where three men were locked up in the cave and the majority of their lives only had experienced sound and shadows within the cave. One man was suddenly released from his shackles and went outside where he experienced sights and sounds he had never seen before. He excitedly returned to his fellow trapped friends where he described his remarkable experiences. His friends, in the end, chose to ignore him and stay in their own reality which they were born into. The story is a great interpretation of society itself in regards to how new perspectives, ideals, or morals being presented. Most people don't want to change one thing about themselves or the ideas if they are already comfortable even in the midst of information that could benefit them. In the end, they are afraid of change and refuse to develop in the moral courage to break out of the cave. They choose to delude themselves in fatifications, which ultimately doesn't make the world outside any less real. On top of the sheep-like mentality and confidence, another aspect of moral courage is that of Stoicism, which contains the virtues and wisdom, temperance, justice, and courage, which also some components of moral courage. In Module PE6, we were required to watch a TED Ed video called The Philosophy of Stoicism, and a video called Why You Should Define Your Fears Instead of Your Goals. These discuss the idea of Stoicism on top of training mental discipline to train willpower in order to make decisions without hindrance from all distraction factors. This allows people to logically think in any situation with moral courage is composed of. especially regarding the complex idea of morality in decisions. Stoicism allows an individual to continue and to move on and adapt, complain very little, and grasp as much goodness as possible. Without Stoicism, moral courage can't be catalyzed as it inhibits any growth of person while simultaneously fear and anxiety lead a person down to a downward path that only won't allow individuals to take chances that could lead to a better life. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca stated, we are often more frightened than hurt, and we suffer more than imagination than reality. All these components, teachings, and values listed are what make up the idea of definition of moral courage, as they allow an individual to carry out ideals, values, and actions with moral evaluation in a situation, and even in the presence of fear, anxiety, and adverse consequences. Stoicism allows individuals to carry through tough situation norms and unpleasantries through the disciplined willpower and mindset to achieve moral courage. Self-confidence allows us to be proud, bold, in proclaiming and advocating our decisions and values without falter against society or the norm that goes against it. Altruism strengthens moral courage as it is primarily involved with being able to conduct selfless actions benefiting others while not being restrained by the fear of consequences to oneself. Finally, diverse values and ideas are also part of moral courage as they allow individuals to choose a better life for themselves and happiness through their own individual perspective, in which individualism is an important aspect of moral courage, in which Socrates mentions to avoid a sheep mindset and instead have the confidence and boldness to seek your own interpretations of values which ultimately guide you to happiness. After reading this, I hope you understood some aspects of what moral courage meant to you. But there's one question I want to ask you. What is moral courage to you? Thank you.